once you've got your kit unpacked and you've chosen the design that you want to work with, you've chosen your ink colour, you're going to need some of the Screen Sensation tape. So I'm going to show you how to put this screen that you've chosen, the design, actually onto the frame. So take the frame out of the base. I'm just going to move that to one side for a moment. You'll notice you've got the word Screen Sensation actually printed. That's been printed onto the base, and this is the surface that you're going to stick the screen to. So it's a nice way of identifying it. You just need to check which side has got the wording on it, and that's the one to work on. You'll notice it also has two ridges either side. Now those ridges are so that it can slide into the frame and actually hold everything together. That's the lid frame. So I'm going to take my design and place that over the base. Now you need to make sure that you've got approximately the same amount of distance all the way round. You can see through the screen, so you can see that it's just overlapping onto the frame, roughly the same amount. It's not critical, but it certainly helps to make it even. And then take some of the tape, and there are lots of different ways of doing this. You'll find your own way, but this is the way that I like to do it. And I'm going to get that first side stuck down, and I'm going to stick it down quite firmly. I'm then going to work on the opposite edge. Now, there's a couple of different ways of doing this. It's not critical that it's really tight, but if you can get it as tight as possible, you'll get great results. So first of all, I like to put a small piece of tape on the corner here, just creating a little bit of tension. And this just allows you, when you first get started, until you get used to how much you need to stretch it, it gives you free hands. Then take the main tape again, half on the screen and half on the base, and stretch it as tight as you can, and then just press that down nice and firmly. Then all I need to do now is take these little pieces off because they're no longer needed, and just seal the screen onto the frame by going onto the other two sides. So I'll go down this top edge first and then down the second edge, and just run your fingers over the tape, making sure that there aren't any air bubbles in there and it is nicely attached. Any little crinkles really don't matter as long as the tape is stuck down. So there we have it. That's our first screen actually in place, and now we're ready to put this onto the base itself. So take the base, lift the lid and slide this into the frame. Now you can see that the way I'm sliding it, because you've been working this way up, you automatically tend to think that you need the tape at the top. But remember what I said at the beginning, that is the base. So we turn it over and it slides into the frame like this. So on the front, you've got that nice clean finish, and it's ready for us to start printing. I'm about to lift this up and prime my screen. Now, it's a good idea to do this because it actually means that the ink has been put across the whole of the screen and you'll get a better print. It's also a test print, and it's really good to be able to see the results that you get. But before we do that, I'd like to show you one other thing. Some of the designs have two parts to them. So as you get more adventurous, you'll want to do prints that are 2 or 3 or even 4 colour. So what you need to do, and this is a great little trick for you, is leave the design that you've already got inside the frame and then get additional frames. Now these are really inexpensive, they're lightweight, they're easy to store. And this allows you to then work with 2 screens at once. But I want to share with you a little tip. So this design is actually the background for the trees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it over the top of the screen until I can see that it lines up. This is helping me just work out which is the right way to have the screen, because you can see I can keep turning it until I've got it in the right and correct position. There we go, it's absolutely perfect now. So I've got the little actual background design, and then I've got the trees that are working over the top of it. So what I need to do now is make sure that I get my screen printed and positioned in exactly the right place. So I've got the print at the bottom, so I'm overlaying this one like I've got here. And this isn't critical, but it does help when you're planning your screens and you've got more than one design, because of course we can line up as we're going along with our work. But I like to do this because it starts to get, in my mind, the way I'm going to build up my colours. So again, I'm just going to tape one side of this there. This is probably one of the points where I'm the quietest I ever am, which is very unusual for me. And then again, I like to put a little bit of tape on the corners just to pull this tight while I'm getting my second piece on there. And then as you get more and more experienced, you'll find that you really can do this very, very quickly. Go round there and round there. Okay, so make sure it's pressed down nice and firmly, which it is, and we're good to go. So now we've got 2 screens, and this makes it really exciting because I can print either one of the designs individually, or I can print the base and then print the top colour over the top. So let's take a look at the results that we're going to get. So first we're going to prime the screen. I've got a piece of cardstock here. You can tape it down if you choose to, it's not necessary, but when you first get started, you might want to, just so that you know for sure it definitely isn't going to move. Then I take my screen and I drop that in. Remember that the tape goes against the base so you can't see it. So as long as when you pick this up, everything is perfectly clean, then you're ready to start printing. So now we need to take some of our ink. And it's a good idea to actually stir it first using one of the spatulas. Now, I actually tend to work from the pots and only use my mixing pot when I'm mixing colours. It's up to you which way you want to work. And then all we need to do is take some of the ink and place it across the top of the screen. So the great thing about this is that you don't need a huge amount. Any excess can go back in the pot. And I've chosen a really strong colour so that we can see the detail. I'm also going to try and make this go wrong so that you can see what happens and how to put it right. So it's up to you whether you work sideways or from front to back. If you are working from front to back, just make sure that the screen, when you're applying pressure, doesn't move. It shouldn't, but that is something to consider. So I'm just going to turn this round because this is the way that I like to work, and I'm going to work here. So angle your squeegee so it's about 45 degrees, and then just pull that cleanly through the print. Now I'm just going to take the pressure off this end so that I get a gap. You can see I'm purposely doing that so I can get a gap with my print, and then go all the way back and lift off cleanly. So I've got a little area here that actually hasn't printed. So this is where I can take some of my ink from my squeegee. I'm just going to put it across the top here, and I can then just carefully go over the little bits that I want to add to. So now let's take a look at the reveal. This is where it's really, really exciting. I didn't even need to check whether or not it was perfect because I knew it would be. Look at the detail, look at how sharp this print is. It is super stunning. This is how you're going to create sensational projects. So with results like this, what are you waiting for? Let's all get printing.